Okay, now that we've got this grouted, we did 2 passes with our grout over this. So the first pass kind of set up, we waited 10-15 minutes, and then we did the second pass on this. Now this is set for a couple hours. We're ready to go ahead and take that grout off. The thinner, the tighter you can get your grout without leaving divots, the better off you're going to be doing the grind. We've got several different tools that we're going to use here. This is new grinds machinery that we have over here. We have the Baby Rhino, and then we have the Rhino RXS14. Both these two tools work really great, so if you can afford to get these tools, these are the best way to go. And these diamond sets cut the best. So these come into step 1, 2, 3, and 4. For our stuff, usually if we do everything in the right process, we're going to go 2, 3, 4. So we would do a 3 pass over this to take our grout off, and then a 4 to bring it up so that we can really see good. If there's any spots that we need to work on a little more before we put our penetrating color enhancer on there. And so I'm just going to do a quick little pass so you can kind of see the technique. One thing that you want to remember on these machines here is as you're doing your cut, make sure that your pads don't pass to where they cross all the way over the edge. So when I'm working this, I'm going to keep these 2 pads on my outside edges. And it doesn't matter if it's these, but I'm going to keep them on that outside edge. And I want about a 50% overlap on that round center pad. Same thing that with this machine. This machine has a front. It has 2 heads in the front, 1 in the rear. We want to keep those 2 heads toward the front to where we're working it across. Our other tool that we have here is a hole hog with a 400 7-inch pad. This works. If you can't afford these tools, this is a cheap alternative to be able to get the job done. The other thing that we have is just a dry polisher. We're going to use some dry pads to work on our edges here. We don't use that on the surface. If we use that on the surface, we'll get lots of waves. It'll go a little faster, but you won't keep it near as flat. It won't look near as nice. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little demo on both these, and then we're going to do the grind. Normally, these hook up to a vacuum, these 2 here. This one, we put a little cup on here. It's air diverter, and we use a dust mask, and it'll keep the dust down pretty low. We're not going to have all that going on right here. We're just going to do a quick pass, kind of show you how they work and kind of just the flow. So I'm going to start here with the RXS. Now, I can make it around this area right here. When I get to really tight areas like this, I'm going to have to use a different piece of equipment, whether I'm using this with a bigger pad or whether I'm using this hole hog. Okay, that's, we're going to set that off to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this other one. One thing to remember is don't take these off and set it directly on the Velcro. It's going to mess up your Velcro, so you want to make sure that you have pads on there when you set it down. And then there's different ways that you can kind of hook your cord up there. Make sure it's off before you plug it in. Make sure your hands are on it when you turn it on. So we're just going to do the same thing. I know this is my front here, so I'm just going to kind of do that overlap. You want to make sure that you don't stay in one spot and need a hole down in anything. And you still might want to do a pass around your edges. A lot of people tend to try and use this machine and think it'll get everything. And then they're working on these edges for a long time when they really should go to this to where they're not digging out a hole in their countertop. Okay. Now we're going to do that one. We're going to go ahead and switch over now. This takes a little bit more brute force, but it does get the job done. And I've got my 400 diamond pad on here. We went up to a step 3 with these pads on before, and now you're going to go back to a 3 and then up to a 4, or you're going to go to your 400 pad and then up to your 800 pad. that's basically how I'm going to work this as well. I'm going to work it kind of in those circular patterns. It doesn't have to go really fast. One thing I want everybody to remember is as you get around these edges, make sure that you go out to where your pad's almost out on that edge. And work those edges good. You want to do that no matter what you're doing each pass to make sure you get that done really well. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and switch over. We've got, now remember we took that grinding stone and brought these out right here. I'm going to take my 100 grit dry pad here to kind of clean up these edges to take off my grout. No, I'm not going to do any machine tooling. This is all going to be by hand right here. And then I'll step up on my edges. I'll go to my 100 pad and then up to my 400, and I call it good on my edges. On my horizontal surfaces, I'm going to go ahead and take that up to an 800. So then I can take this same and jump over to my 400 pad to do these edges in here. And you can see that's I'm looking to get rid of all of that creaminess. Now as I go up and I step up and I get up to my 800 pad on my pass here, if you see foggy areas, jump back down to your 400, get rid of those foggy areas, because when you go put it on your penetrating color enhancer, those things are going to turn up kind of foggy. And if they do, that means you got to stop, wipe everything off, wait for that to dry to the next day, or try and get on it, get it sanded off. Otherwise, you're going to have all these hazy spots in your countertop that you don't want. Okay? We're going to go ahead and get this all sanded down, and we're going to show you how to do the color enhancer.